All right, so.
I've been acting like a wild man, sleeping like a child. You're so luminous and vibrant, I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom, always in bloom for you. Times I've stranded, a castaway on unknown shore, although a stranger in this continent, I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom, always in bloom for you. Infatuated light, although it hurts me to be with you, I'm always in bloom, always in bloom for you. For
folks, welcome to another deceptively beautiful sunny blue sky day that's somewhat frigid, probably a little warmer than the last few days. Either way, doesn't matter, we plug away. I was getting up some rafters the day before yesterday, but the snow just kept picking up and picking up, so at one point it's like, this is probably constructing in a blizzard isn't the best call. So I hung up. It was around 3 o'clock or so a much needed break. And then yesterday we went to the big city, get some provisions and whatnot. So today my focus is going to be on, and I'll say this, probably the most complicated part of this build, at least for me, because everything so far is just a matter of kind of some reading, understanding, and then 80% labor, like the foundation. It's a lot of work building all those concrete pads and the rebar that you have to cut and wire and all the stuff. But in the end, once you have the pattern, it's just labor. Same with the walls and everything else. Nothing too tricky. And I imagine for professional builders, none of this is tricky. But for me, this transition here. So again, the idea is we have this main pitched roof over what we call the great room and the main bath and the back porch. And then at the front we have the kitchen, which is a slightly lower peak. And then in front of that again will be our front porch and the veranda or whatever you want to call it. And all on the east side, and I've said this before, right? We want that to be at the same pitch. But on the other side, of course, it's going to drop and then drop. Both drop down and move inward. And so the first thing that I have to tackle here is where the great room overlaps the roof below I have to build, and I don't really know what it's called to be honest, maybe a knee wall. I'd like to think of it as kind of a weirdo rafter. But what I've done is I've taken one of my 2x10s and I've hung it off the beam and just clamped it to the post so that it is, basically held in place where it would be if I had installed that, just like any other rafter. And that will be my guide as to where the bottom of whatever I build needs to be in order for me to attach my ultimately my drywall, right, after insulation and vapor barrier and all that fun stuff. And then the top of it is going to indicate where I need to leave some kind of nailing edge or something where I can start, kind of treat it like my first rafter, where my first piece of roof sheathing on the bottom section, the kitchen roof, will be. In other words, I need to create a insulatable wall that will run from that bottom of that rafter to the top of that rafter to close the space below the roof overhang. And I saw this diagram years ago that just spoke to DIYers, and if anybody sees that pie chart out there, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's basically a pie chart that says, this tiny sliver that says going to like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever to get your materials, and then there's another slightly larger piece of the pie that says, actual work, and then the giant, majority, 2/3 section is staring into space. And that's what I spent a lot of time doing the other day. So once the snow got to the point where I couldn't really do anything anymore, I just stood here staring at that space for quite a while, figuring out what to do. And in the end, what I've settled on is essentially a 2x6 wall that I'm going to just regular 16 spaced studs. But it'll be about, I'm guessing, roughly 16 inches, 20 inches. I got to do the measurements in that. But it'll be about that tall. And I'm going to treat it like a rafter in that I'll build it up nice and stiff. I'll cut it so that the pieces are tapered so that they fit and butt up just like a rafter against the post, and then it'll sit entirely across the plate on the far side, and then I'll screw it down, nail it down, yada yada yada. That will give me a structure that will again bridge that gap between the kitchen roof to the great hall roof and allow me to insulate that, put sheathing on the outside, and then ultimately drywall and vapor barrier and stuff on the inside. So that's where we're at, and we'll see how it goes. Go back to the scaffolding now. Okay?
Yeah.
You just need to get it lined up like that.
Okay. the way.
Why is the block in the way? It shouldn't be. This is going to keep tilting until it falls over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to kind of reposition this
Yeah.
so it's straight. Then I can lift it some more. Right?
Yeah.
Then I can get back onto this stool. And then pat it in place.
A little bit more. A little bit more. So it's flush at the top, but it's not flush at the bottom.
So it's got to be cranked up again.
Yeah.
Now, hold this in place. I just need to know where, because the idea is now when I'm done, I gotta put another similar structure here, and then I'm gonna have a 2x4 that will just run along, and I'm gonna nail it into this.
Okay.
And what that's gonna be is to represent the top of this, and that's where the deck will start for the roof underneath.
Right.
And then this, of course, is gonna be the top
Right.
of the top of the like the, you know, this is the thing that would close in the house at this point.
Yeah.
There. There. There.
Awesome.
Check that out.
Looks really good.
Zoop.
Fits perfectly, eh?
Yeah.
That must be pleasing after yesterday.
It's incredibly pleasing after yesterday. It's extremely, extremely satisfying. Now, I just need to
Hey guys, we have got another chilly day today, but it is only feels like -5, which is definitely much more manageable than the weather that we had last week. Yesterday, Al was able to finish up 7 rafters in the kitchen on the east side, and then today he's going to be working on the same 7 rafters on the west side and getting those done. And then the next thing that he's going to have to do is build those blocks for the 2 last rafters for the kitchen at the end, the same way that he did for the end of the great room on the west side. So yeah, we're really getting there now. It's getting very exciting. So I guess the next thing that we're going to be doing is probably the porch, but you know, all plans are subject to change.
Through the arbor in the garden room, wings are beating pencil drawing phases of the moon, all through the stages, both becoming seen into. Slowly we take on phosphorescence, vivid in the bone, phosphorescence.